the number one narrative that has roosted on Kansas City ever since Tyreek Hill put up the deuces and said, I'm leaving Kansas City, I want out, and Kansas City says, there's the door, and we will take some draft choices. And you will go to Miami. Fine. Sold. Ever since that day, the narrative is just you watch Mahomes and the Chiefs die on the vine because their big playability just deuced out the door going to Miami. Just you watch. They will die on the vine because their passing game won't be nearly as fearful for opponents. And then they went out and won the Super Bowl anyway. So you take that narrative and flush it down the toilet. But just like the goldfish, sometimes it takes a couple flushes, right? And I'm a parent. So that narrative has not been flushed even by Lombardi, even winning it all. It's just like, okay, now, like, who is it outside of Kelsey? Who is it? And then Kadarius Toney in game one turned into Kadarius Scissorhands, and that narrative roosted. And then the Chiefs started winning games, did they not? Until they lost in Denver. And Mahomes lost a division game for the first time ever on the road. And he's now the quarterback of a team that can't do it because of offensively, can't do it. And then they beat the Dolphins with a defensive touchdown and everything like that. And now they come off the bye, and last night happens. And the last drive is a perfect example. A first down grab to bring up a fourth down because he dropped it. I mean, it's his guy, Kelsey, in the hands, right? Whew. But on fourth down, who does he look for? Hits him right in the gut with the ball, first down, Travis Kelsey. And then comes a do or die, it seemed, because it was a second down play and time's running out, and he goes up top for Marquez Valdez-Scantling.
That was a dime.
Who gets behind the defense and hits him directly in the hands on the 1 yard line. And Scantling, didn't run through it, thought he couldn't run through it. However you want to put it, was it a little too far for him to run through it? Because he left his feet and he couldn't catch it. The next play winds up with an intentional grounding to bring up fourth and forever. Definitely end of the game, right? Definitely not going to convert 4th and 25, but it's Mahomes who hits Justin Watson directly in the hands with what would have been a conversion on 4th and 25. Oh, man. Could you imagine if the game had continued off of that? Mm-hmm. Time was winding down. They were out of timeouts. But it still would have been an amazing conversion and then giving the general sense of, uh-oh. So there's your narrative. There's your narrative. Forget about the fact that Mahomes threw a red zone interception or the fact that Kelsey committed a red zone turnover. But because of that last turnover by Kelsey in the red zone, now comes, this is not a narrative, because narratives you can argue about. Well, how valid is it? They won a championship last year without Tyreek Hill. With Valdez-Scantling. And what, you just put Justin Watson and Kadarius Toney in the role of Juju Smith-Schuster, who wasn't lighting up too many fires for this team? This kid, Rashee Rice, can make some moves. So that's a narrative talking about how it's going to really work or not. And the fact that they drop these balls and the receivers are a little less than, this is not a narrative. This is a fact. This is a trend. This is something the Chiefs have to deal with. That is concerning. Did you know they have now gone scoreless in the second half of 3 consecutive ball games? Mm-hmm. And it's not just the last 3 games. It's the entire football season. After halftime, they have averaged in the second half this season 5.3 points per second half. That is DFL, as the kids say, in the NFL. Just 5 touchdowns after halftime. That's tied for last in the NFL. The 3 times that they've been shut out in a row, that's tied for last just overall. The last 3 weeks gives them 3 scoreless second halves. That's tied for last for the entire season. And here's the problem. You don't want to be associated with the other teams that you're tied for last with. The only other teams that have gone scoreless after halftime 3 times this year are the Giants and the Cardinals. Oof. And the only team that has 5 touchdowns after halftime this year, other than the Chiefs, are the Jets. You don't want to be associated with this. This has been a season-long issue. I don't know how to fix it. And to Kansas City's credit, they've scored in the first half. They've had significant first halves, and the defense has made it stand up 7 times out of 10. That's a fact. So that's the concern for me for the Chiefs so far. Is it possible because their receivers are less than? Sure. But this is the stuff like Andy Reid should be and Mahomes should be dissecting what's going on in the first half and figure it out for the second half and adjust. There's been zero adjustment. Everyone's been adjusting to them. And in the case of last night, the Eagles adjusted the scoreboard at the same time. Patrick Mahomes on this very subject matter after last night's loss.
I mean, I don't have any concern because I'm going to do whatever I can to play the best football I can. I know the other guys are going to do the same. And if you have concern, then you don't win football games. And so I believe in the guys that we have in the locker room, and we'll come to work with that mentality if we're going to find a way to fix it.
To his credit, he's the best, man. To his credit, he's not calling anybody out. He's just like, I believe in the guys. You don't see the body language at all. And even poor Patrick Mahomes, too. A very viral video I saw on the old X machine last night and everywhere else. I guess he took off his headband or his wristband, flipped it to a fan in the stands, and they dropped that, too.
Yeah. Yep.
So it was an epidemic. Now, here's the good part. I'll channel my inner Mahomes. I believe in them, too. That kid Pacheco's a real stud. Kelsey's a stud. Okay? Mahomes is a stud. Fact. I like this Rashee Rice kid. Let's find him a little bit more, man. Sky Moore has disappeared off the planet. I don't know what's up with that. But here's what I also like about it. Put up their schedule, if you do not mind, from here on out. Tell me where the losses are, please. Tell me where you're like, uh-oh. Tell me where they are. At Vegas, where they've never lost? Maybe because they're playing out of their skulls a little bit. At Green Bay.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. All right. Home for Buffalo? You think the Bills? Okay.
Yeah, maybe.
You've been the king. You've been the king of the Bills or less than.
Well,
how many overreaction Monday subject matters are like they're going to miss the playoffs?
We're talking about the Chiefs right now.
Okay.
That's a possibility,
and that's a tough game.
sure.
At New England on a Monday night?
I mean, no.
Home for Vegas on Christmas Day?
I don't know. Maybe.
Okay. Home for Cincinnati with Jake Browning coming in?
Could be.
Okay.
Joe Burrow,
okay.
Browning.
Here's what I say. That's 6-1 at the worst.
6-1 at the worst?
Yep. Write it down.
Well, I'll take that.
Okay. 13-4 at the worst.
I got it.
13-4 at the worst?
Even how about this? I'll give you another one. Maybe 12-5 at the worst.
Maybe the Chargers.
They win the division. Who's going to have 13 wins? The Ravens? The Ravens? Guess you know who needs to have 13 wins to make it cash? The Dolphins. Because the Chiefs have beaten them. Who's going to have 13 wins? Houston? Jacksonville?
No.
That's what I'm saying. Okay. Everybody just take a beat and a breath.
Ooh,
and the receivers catch the football, man. Catch it. Easy for me to say. But all I'm just saying, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. Everyone thinks, okay, they can be had now? Okay. Somebody's going to have them in Arrowhead. So I don't think they're not a wild card team. They're not starting wild card weekend on the road. Is it possible that they start the wild card weekend at home? Yeah. Because somebody's gotten the 1 seed, then that team's going to have to win. Okay? Because Mahomes might have 2 home games and then maybe have to go and win an AFC championship game on the road in his first ever road playoff game. Maybe. That's the way I'm looking at it right now. Everybody just woosah. But that was a tough one last night because they had it.
Yeah.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.